I hope I'm going live. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to get on this regular time and just talk a little bit about dating. So, one of the most important things that you can do if you're entering the dating scene is to show up being yourself. And I was talking about this today to somebody, and they were like, "Well, if you're trying to be yourself, it depends on where you are in the country and how emotional and vulnerable that you want to be." Um, but what I work on with people is for them to show up as their authentic selves, whatever that might look like to you in wherever you are. And sometimes what I tell clients to think about is to check in with themselves and just see how comfortable they actually are. And that's one way to know whether or not you're actually showing up as yourself. How comfortable are you in your own skin with your own thoughts, with your own feelings? And to see if you can make yourself a little bit more comfortable. So, right now, in this moment, no matter what you're doing, I'm on a video live, which I'm not normally on. I usually have a little bit more of a prep um, performance thing. So, let's just breathe together and see in our body whether our nervous system is settled down. So, a lot of times when we go on dates, we have to check in to our nervous system to tell us, how is it? How are we doing? Are we actually present? Um, and so if you let's just imagine that you're going on a date now and that you felt like you found somebody who sort of met a profile, connected with you a little bit, maybe in a text or online. You thought, oh, there's some commonalities here. I want to check this person out. And you're headed over to meet them, wherever that might be. And so imagine while we're in this sort of anticipatory moment or sort of a practice session or a dress rehearsal, so to speak, I want you to just think about what part of your nervous system starts getting upset. Maybe you start running late. Maybe you start questioning, did you wear the right thing? Maybe you're also thinking about, is this something I really want to do? Is this how I want to spend my time? And the biggest, most important thing to do in the moment that you're going to be showing up to meet someone you don't know is to stay connected to yourself and to your body and give yourself some positive self talk. That is just the ways that you talk to yourself, not like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like you don't have anything to say. You're not looking so great. You're hungry. Um, maybe you forgot to bring cash so that you could pay for things without pulling out your credit card. Maybe you didn't pick the right place to meet. Maybe it's only going to last a half an hour, all of those things. And instead, to slow down your mind and to think about some of the things that are positive about you in this moment. So I'm not even going to start with maybe, but you're brave. You actually took the initiative to do something for yourself, to learn something new, to practice some skills, to see if you can pull your confidence to the surface, to become much more aware of who you are, who the person is across the table. Can you stay focused on yourself enough and present enough that you can actually see who you're talking to and step out of your anxiety? And and this is a step in the right direction. Most people who are going on dates and dating and actively trying to find a partnership, it's a practice. It's something that you actually have to put some time, effort, and action into to be able to accomplish it. You can't just sit home and scroll. It doesn't work that way. Or it does, but then you're kind of in a fantasy. So you are breaking out, you are taking action, you are practicing a skill set. And, this is a developmental skill set that you can get better at. I remember a long time ago, I was listening to dating coaches online, and there was just one really popular one. And he said he was like an expert dater. He had dated like 1,000 people. And I don't know if he ever actually found somebody, that he liked. I think he did. I hope he did. But what he really felt like was, wow, he became an expert at dating. He never was nervous. He showed up, he could talk, he could be comfortable, he could ask the right questions, he could figure out if this was a connection that he wanted to pursue or, uh, continue to stay in the evening or even see them at a different times and start getting to know them. So he was really good at it. So I want you to, if you're doing this dress rehearsal dating, like we have a screen on the other side of the room, like a movie projector, and you're just projecting, okay, here I am on a date, anticipating the date, all the work that I did to get to that date. And now here I am on the date. Um, and I'm going to try to be as present as I can so that I can actually see and listen to and hear who I am talking to right now and experiencing it. And is this somebody that I want to get to know more because I'm listening to myself and I'm being confident and staying with myself? So that is your first step for sure. Your second step is to practice. And this is something that is done in my groups a lot is people just try to practice being more and more themselves. And, I was really touched by someone who in my group who was talking about how anxious they were dating, that it made them so anxious because they felt like they were doing all of that work on their own. They were paying for it because they were the male, or in the male role. They were picking the place. They were judging whether the person wanted certain kind of food or drank alcohol or wanted just to have a coffee. They were like really analyzing a lot of how to show up, and they felt so responsible that they couldn't really enjoy themselves or relax. They felt just incredibly anxious. And so, in the practice of being more and more yourself, it helps us figure out like where our boundaries are. So, for example, like if you're like, hey, I don't want to take on this whole responsibility of dating, because that's going to be something that I'm going to constantly have to do, is always like initiate all these activities and figure out all the stuff instead of from the very beginning. Sorry, my cat just jumped in here. Instead of from the very beginning, sort of saying like, "Hey, let's figure out this together. Let's plan this together. What do you like? What would you like to do? Where would you like to meet? Do you want to just have a short-term date or I mean short-term or short time meeting?" And you might also talk a little bit in the being yourself model of the way that you like to do the first date so that that person gets to know you and you get to actually exert your comfort level to them. So, okay, we're going into the projector screen again. You meet the person, you see them for the first time. And when you do see them for the first time, what I'd like you to do is again focus on yourself, not so much honing into what they're wearing, how they're talking, whether you're attracted to them, whether you feel any connection, because all of that is kind of in your head. And you're going to learn that in a period of time. You might learn that quickly, in the hour, but you're definitely not learning that in the first 30 seconds. So part of what you're learning is in the first 30 seconds is can you manage your anxiety to actually pick up some of the cues that they're giving you? And can you actually communicate what you want to say? So it's always good to sort of have a plan and not have a plan about what you're going to talk about and to be as relaxed as you can so you can go with the flow. So that is such a gift if you can get to that point where, hey, I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to just see what this person has to say, and I'm just going to roll with what they're talking about, and I'm going to pick up on some of their ways of speaking, and I'm going to relate to what their material is, and then I'm going to share some of my things, and there's going to be a nice back and forth. And maybe that's sort of what you're aiming for, is like, can I get in the flow with this person in terms of conversation and comfort level? Can that be something that I do? Okay, so you're in the date. You met them, you sat down somewhere, you're now ordering, you're talking, and your goal is to just be in the flow, stay flowing with yourself, stay very much with your nervous system calm and balanced, and try to keep your head also calm Where's those positive self-talk? You're doing a great job. You're letting them go first in order. You're asking them questions. You're listening well. You might want to keep reminding yourself, you remember you really liked what you wore today. You really liked what you picked out. You were on time. You're not twitching. You're not, you're not doing those twitches that you do, or the hand gestures, or you're calming yourself down and you're being present and you're noticing where you are and where you're sitting and you're being in the flow of that time. Brilliant. So, that's as far as the date we're going to go, is just there, because what I want you to do is notice how you're feeling just with what I've told you. I don't want to bombard you with lots of information, just like I don't want you to get bombarded with yourself and with your own ideas, even in this rehearsal. I want you to really stay clear with it, and also just be natural and go with the flow in it. So we can't really practice exactly what you're going to say and what that conversation is going to be like. But what we can practice pre dating is for you, in every conversation that you have with people who are you're interacting with, you can practice with every conversation just being more and more yourself and going with the flow and sitting back and breathing and feeling your feet on the floor and relying on your mind to have positive self-talk back to you. You're doing great. You feel comfortable in what you're wearing. You feel comfortable in who you are. You get to say the things that are going to make you more comfortable. And if you start feeling your nervous system get aggravated, there's a few things to go, places to go with it. One is you can set some boundaries. Two is you can just give yourself a little space, pause, listen a little bit more, breathe, make yourself a little bit more comfortable. How can you make yourself a little bit more comfortable? You could sit back. You could cross your legs. You could take a sip of water. You could just take 3 breaths. No one would even know you're taking them. You could take them like really long inhale, really long exhale, and you could stay super connected to yourself. And that's one of the biggest things about meeting new people and dating and going on new experiences and practicing the art of showing up and being yourself and watching your nervous system, just observing it. So that's my dating tip for you, week 2. And I am so looking forward to hearing your comments. Thanks so much for the ones you sent last week. I'm looking forward to talking to you next week. So I'll see you back then. And happy dating and happy discovery of your nervous system.